Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Podcast with Andy Rodriguez. We have a very special guest today. We have Psycho Steve from the Metal Summit Podcast. Welcome to the show, and thanks for coming aboard, buddy.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's a great honor.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Psycho Steve.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that, guys.
So go ahead, Andy. Ask some questions, and then we'll get into the discussion here pretty quick.
All right. Of course, what we were talking about right before we came on live was that I was asking Mr. Steve about who he had interviewed earlier today. And it was Penelope Seifriss from Wayne's World Acclaim. She was the director, but also in our rock world, she also did the Civilization of... what was the title of that show, Steve?
Decline of Civilization Part 3.
Yes.
And then she also directed that. She also did Black Sheep with David Spade and Chris Farley.
Nice.
She did quite a few music videos. Yeah. She's done quite a few movies. She's quite accomplished, Little Rascals. Quite a few others. Yeah. So, and this week is the 30th anniversary. So, Paramount Pictures released a it's called Steel Blu-ray limited edition run DVD Wayne's World because it's 30 years. Can you believe it?
Wow, it's been that long.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
Wow.
Cannot believe it.
Yeah, I know. It's such a great movie. It's such an iconic movie, and also really the people that are in it. I'm not just talking about Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. You have to remember, let him rest in peace. Meatloaf was in it. Chris Farley was in it. Rob Lowe.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah, tons of people. Dan Aykroyd's wife, Donna Dixon.
Donna Dixon, yeah.
Yes, she's married to Dan Aykroyd.
She came out of that show Bosom Buddies with Tom Hanks. Back in the 80s.
Here's a little trivia. Donna Dixon, who was she with prior to Dan Aykroyd, and who did she leave that person for Dan Aykroyd?
Was she with Jim Belushi? I have no clue.
Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Really? Oh yeah, that's right.
And she met Dan Aykroyd on the set of Spies Like Us.
Right.
Oh, was it Spice Like Us or Dr. Detroit?
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
I'm a trivia dork.
We want to talk about Kiss. I do have some history with Kiss. I worked for the organization.
So, what can you tell us about Kiss? And your
Okay, so first thing first, I have the Guinness Book World Record of seeing Kiss in concert the most times than anybody. I've seen them up to date 711 times.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, I've seen them in every state except Delaware because they've never performed in Delaware.
Wow, that is amazing. I've never seen them, but I'm going to see them in May at Rockville. I'm finally going to get to see them. Yeah.
Nice. I will be seeing them in May in Connecticut again.
Okay.
Because my beautiful bride in training has never seen them in concert, believe it or not. So,
did you say 711 times?
Yes.
That's
only
awesome.
state in Delaware because they've never performed in Delaware. I've seen them in Anchorage. I've seen them in Alaska. I've seen them in South Carolina. I've seen them in Jersey because that's where I'm from. Don't hold it against me. Quite a few times. Let me see. Yeah, I've seen them everywhere. I haven't seen them outside the country except Canada, if you consider that. And I've seen them in Puerto Rico, but otherwise, But
next time we have a Kiss episode, you have to be on it because we've already done a few.
Okay. So I can also tell you a history with me with the band too.
Go ahead, yeah.
So the way Psycho Steve's name came about was Gene Simmons actually. When I first met him, I was 6 years old. It was July 25th, 1980. Do you guys know what pinnacle date that is?
That's the Palladium, right?
Right. That was my first concert. So my father was best friends with Bill Coyne.
With
And
Eric
my father,
Carr.
yes, that was Eric Carr's first show. And that was the only United States show for Unmasked, just to let you know.
Yep.
So I was 6 years old. I was like 4.5 at the time when I met Bill for the first time. And Bill came to my father and goes, hey, Dave, I have this really great band that you should have do your charity event. My father and mother do a lot of charity events for juvenile diabetes. I have an older brother that's an insulin dependent diabetic. So they did like auctions and concerts to raise money. So I have an older brother, and my brother had Kiss Alive too. And my dad's like, oh, yeah, what's the name of the band? He said, Kiss. And of course, I'm like, oh, my eyes and ears lit up, and my brother's eyes and ears lit up. And my brother runs over to my dad and goes, yeah, Dad, you should get them. And shows him Kiss Alive too. And of course, Gene's blood is all splattered over his face, and he's all sweaty. And my dad's like, nah, I think they're a little too offensive. And I heard Any Way You Want It. That's the first song I ever heard by Kiss. And I was hooked. I was like, oh my God. And then a couple years later, of course, what's his name? Bill Coyne got fired, or as I call it, promoted to fan from the band. So he was over for a family dinner, and he hands me this little piece of paper and goes, Steve, are you still a fan of Kiss? I said, I am. Why? He's like, why don't you write Gene a letter? I was like, okay, because this is before email and internet.
Right.
So I was like, all right. So I wrote him a letter. I'm like, hi, my name is Steve. I'm a fan. I live in such and such and everything. I would love to come and see you in concert. A couple months later, I got a letter back from him asking me how I got his address. I wrote him again, and then he wrote me one more time. He goes, if you want to come to the show, I had to call Glickman Marks in New York City. So my father made the call for me, and they set my father and I up with 2 tickets and 2 backstage passes for that show.
Wow.
Now, I am 6 years old, so I'm a little kid, but I was very overweight. I was like 60 or 70 pounds. I was a little chunky monkey. And, Gene's like 6'1", 6'2", maybe 6'8" with the boots on. And I'm all like excited. I see him and everything, and I run up to him. I'm like, oh my God, you're Gene Simmons. And he goes, Mashugana, psycho. Now, Mashugana in Yiddish means crazy in the head. And
Right.
I thought psycho was a curse word, so I started crying. And I ran over to my father. I'm like, Dad, Gene Simmons called me a Mashugana and a psycho. And my dad's like, calm down. Let me go talk to him. So my father went up to him and goes, hey, Gene, I'm Dave. I'm Steve. He's his father. He's the one that's been writing you the last couple months. He's like, nice to meet you, Dave. He's like, well, tell Steve to talk to me. I might wear higher heels than your wife, more makeup than your mother, but I'm a mortal man. So I was like, okay. So my father calmed me down. He's like, just go talk to him. Don't praise him or anything like that. Just talk to him like you and I are talking. So I'm like, okay. And I went up to him like, Gene, I'm really sorry. I was just really excited to meet you. He's like, it's okay. He sits down, puts me on his knee, and goes, oh, you're a heavy little fucker, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, so you married? You have any kids? Don't ever get married. Don't ever have kids.
Yeah.
And we formulated a friendship ever since. And then I invited him to my bar mitzvah. He couldn't come, but he sent me a really, really nice gift. And then he wanted me to help him run the Kiss Army and do, like, send out. He told me once a month, my father and I would have to go into New York City, pick up a bunch of, like, 8x10s and stamps and stuff like that, and mail people the Kiss Army stuff, whatever it was at the time, like a picture and like application and the Kiss Army card that looked like a credit card kind of thing. And then every time he would play either New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania, more like Philly area, because I at the time I was living in central New Jersey, he would let me know ahead of time. And as long as it wasn't on a school night, because he was really strict about school nights. He did not want me to miss a day of school because his thought was the more you learn, the more you earn. And I took it to the grave. And, and I've met so many people and through him, because I was backstage and I went to a big birthday bash he had. And as I got older, we grew up into like I called him my father. I call him Dad.
This
You
is
know, a lot of people
crazy.
call him like Uncle Genie and stuff like that. No, I call him Dad, and he calls me either, you know, when he's mad, he calls me Steven, or he'll say, you know, come here, Mr. Gonna, you know, and yeah, and that's how the Psycho Steve name came to be.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and
I
then
had no idea this interview was going to go this way. I swear to God, Andy, I had no
it's
idea.
all good. So, yeah, so I started as a DJ because Gene actually hooked me up for because I wanted to do something in the music industry, but I have no musical talent. I could sing, but I didn't want to do it professionally. So he's like, "Oh, you know, why don't you DJ like for parties and stuff like that?" And then one day he's like, "I got you a gig. You're gonna do my friend's wedding, Tommy. He's marrying this girl. Come with me. We're going to the city. You're gonna go there a little early to set up." It wound up being Tommy Mottola and Mariah Carey's wedding,
What?
and
Wow.
yeah, I've never seen so many pinky rings in my life. And all these guys kissing each other on the cheek and handing, like, they would hand Tommy these envelopes and they'd say, "Hey, congratulations, how you doing? How you doing?" kind of thing.
It's kind of like
It was like a you know, Goodfellas type of
Yeah,
deal.
Goodfellas or freaking The Godfather or something. And it was really cool. And Tommy came up to me. He was like, "You're doing good, kid." And he's like, "Can I get you a drink?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right." And he'd come back with like a soda or something like that. Mariah called me sweetie, and then she gave me a kiss. And I'm like, "Wow, she's freaking hot," you
Well,
know?
yeah, she was, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, and it was really cool. She was really genuine and everything like that. And there was other like executive, like, you know, what's his name, who managed Van Halen, Arne Azoff, was there.
Don Askoff, something like that. I know
Yeah,
who
something
you're
like
talking
that. Yeah, and then there was other like well-known musicians. Diana Ross was there, and you know, Diana, you know, would always like wave to Gene, and Gene would wave to her,
about. Oh my
and
God.
everything, because you know, Gene and Diana had some history too. And then there
Oh,
was some
really?
like A-lister celebrities there, which was really cool.
Wow.
And they were just like really, really, it was really fun. So I just DJ'd and kept on DJing, and I was just like, you know, I really enjoy this. So I started DJing at a couple of nightclubs in New York, in New Jersey, and I was like, I need a club DJ name. I'm like, what should I call myself? I'm like, you know what? Gene called me Psycho when I was a kid, and it has a good roll off the tongue. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go by Psycho Steve. And I trademarked the name. I own the name now, and that's it.
Oh, well, you own the name. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because see, Gene's real name is Chaim Vitz, as you know, or Gene Klein, and he changed his name to, you know, Gene Simmons, and then he trademarked it. It's for entertainment purposes. You could do that, and he taught me to do that. And now there is a couple people that call themselves Psycho Steve, but they don't spell it. I spell it the right way.
Right.
Because you know, grammar was a big pet peeve of my grandmother, so she was just like, "You got to spell your name the right way." I'm like, "Okay." And you know, there's other people that spell it like Psyko and then whatever, or
Right.
CKO, stuff like that. And like, there's this like promoter, and if he's listening, he better cut the shit because I get emails because I have a Facebook page that says Psycho Steve, and I've had the name since I'm 13 years old. So, and there's a promoter out of Arizona that books shows, and I would say once every couple months, I'll get an email from somebody. Hey, is that show still going on? Could we buy on to the show? You know, because pay to play, selling tickets or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I look into it, and I'm like, oh, you think I'm this guy, and he is not me, and I am not him. I am the radio personality, you know, podcasting pal, whatever you want to call me. I'm the real Psycho Steve. Hence, that's what I use for on my Twitter handle, and also on my TikTok account, and on my Instagram account. So, and it's flattering when you hear people use the name, but I own it. And if they do something inappropriate, I want to make sure my tochus is covered because I don't want to be responsible.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
this
I
is an
mean,
amazing
that's
story.
embarrassing because if you really think about it, you know, people
Right.
using your name, if you own it, it makes you
Right.
look bad. So
Right. And then there used to
absolutely,
be a wrestler. like a professional wrestler named Psycho Steve, and then he changed it to like Psycho Sid, stuff like that. And then if you Google
Right.
Psycho Steve, there's quite a few of them. And I've given up of just trying to track them down because, like I said, people know the people that know me know that I am Psycho Steve. Unless you're my mother, that's totally clueless in Seattle. She just asked me the other day, the first time. She's like, "By the way, how did you come up with the name Psycho Steve?" I'm like, "Really?" Like, Mom, I've had that name because she bragged. My mom's a typical Jewish mother, a Yenta. She brags to all her friends. Oh, my, my son's a radio personality kind of thing. And, she's like, he's named Psycho Steve. And before I was engaged I'm happily divorced now. I was previously married. My kids love the fact that I have that name because they came up with names for themselves because I had them on my show and everything like that. They're like, well, Dad, if you're Psycho Steve, my oldest son's name is Jack. So he's like, well, I'm Jacko the Wacko, And then my youngest son is very charming, and he always hits on my fiance and all my other female friends, and they call him Charming. So his name is Charming Charlie. So, and they used their names and everything. They were on my podcast, an episode. They got to introduce a song. I had them pick a song. We did the alphabet, so we came up to S. I'm like, pick a band, either Striper or Slayer. And they picked Slayer, and they never heard the song before. And I said, well, the song we're going to do is Angel of Death. So you hear them say, hi, I'm, Jacko the Wacko. And then you hear my youngest son go, hi, I'm Charlie. I'm Charming Charlie. We're Psycho Steve's Little Monsters. And you're listening to Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. Now we're going to listen to a song by Slayer. It's called Angel of Death. Heck yeah. It was really cute.
That is awesome.
Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. I would, if I heard that myself, I would lose it. Not in a bad way. I would lose it like that's badass because I've been trying to get my kid. I've been trying to get my kids like that, and they're like, no, we like this. And I'm like, then when we're in the car, I always like to put on like something really insane, like Mr. Bungle or something like that.
Right. Just to Bungle, Michael Patton's birthday. Today's Michael's birthday.
Yes, it is. It is. Happy birthday, Mike Patton.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about Guns N' Roses in a bit. I saw Faith No More, Guns N' Roses, and Metallica back in July of '91 at the Meadowlands when they shot Paradise City.
Oh, that is where they shot Paradise City. You're right.
Yeah, it was called at the time Giant Stadium, but now it's called MetLife Stadium. Yeah. It should be like called Giants and the Jets Suck Stadium, but whatever.
Yes. Hey, I don't think you can see it right now, Psycho Steve, because you're driving, but I'm a Cowboys fan. So if you do get home in enough time, I do have Cowboys stuff and White Sox stuff behind me.
Okay. So Tony Dorsett's mom was my kindergarten teacher.
Oh, come on, dude. How many people do you know?
Dude, I've been doing this a long time. Like I said, people think I should run for governor. And I thought of a really great campaign slogan. If I ran for governor in New Jersey, everything, I was like, what do you think? Psycho Steve, the Jew for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can't
or the Hebrew need. Yeah. So, I've been, like I said, then I evolved into radio. I started at a really small radio station because I went to college for radio. I went because, Gene always said I had the perfect voice for radio. So then I did terrestrial radio. I worked at a really small radio station. Then I got syndicated. And then I got an opportunity to work for KISS. And not just doing the fan club stuff. I actually got to go on tour with the actual band and did assistant tour manager. Basically because I did handle press, because I was press, when the band reunited, when a radio station, newspaper, because there was no podcasts at the time. There was only radio, magazine, newspaper, or television. Wanted to interview a member or the band collectively. I would have to go to the band and be like, hey, Dad, hey, Uncle Paul, hey, Uncle Peter, Uncle Elise, WKRP in Cincinnati wants to interview you guys. Are you down? And they'd say, yeah, do we need to go to the station or will they come here? I'm like, all right, they'll come here and they'll give 45 minutes or an hour and whatever. And then also Gene had me handle guest list for people. Because
Right.
when we toured, they toured everywhere, and a lot of their friends, especially Gene, because Gene's an A-lister himself, said, we need, we'll be playing in, I don't know, like Wichita, Kansas. And for example, this is when John Stamos was married. He
To
was
that
married
Rebecca.
to Jane Stamos. They were filming a movie together, and he's just like, and John would call this phone that Gene gave me, and he'd be like, yeah, we're actually in the same town you guys are playing. We would love to come back and say hi to Gene and the guys. So I'd be like, all right, I'll call you back in a few minutes. And then I would go to Gene and be like, hey, John and Rebecca are in town. They would love to come back and say hi. Can I put them on the list? Yes, but 2 tickets, 2 passes. And be like, okay. And I'd call him back. I'm like, okay, you're under Gene's list. Make sure you give his name and show ID, and you're good. So.
Wow, this is an
And I did that
amazing
for
story.
6.5 years. So from the reunion to farewell.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I call myself a Kiss newbie because I didn't start listening to them till about 2015 is when I really started to listen to them. So I'm kind of a newbie when it comes to Kiss, but I've tried to grasp as much as I can. Rob had stepped out for a moment, but to go back to Mariah Carey, she's like one of my favorite pop singers because as I'm pretty sure she wrote so much of her own music. Tell me a little bit more about her. I mean, were you able to meet her like exclusively or extensively?
A little bit.
That's really cool. You
And
always
course,
hear about these celebrities. Mm-hmm.
I was there when they filmed, was it Detroit Rock City at the Staples Center, saying it was Detroit for Cobo Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but weren't they in like LA or something like that?
Yeah, they filmed it in LA, even though they said it was Detroit.
Right.
Which was pretty cool.
Wow, these are pretty insane stories I wasn't expecting to hear, so thank you very much.
Yeah, this is really cool.
But yeah, we'll get ready to talk GNR here in a little bit, but any other things that you want to do to promote your podcast, The Metal Summit? I mean, anything from the past that people can watch now and
so
maybe something they can see in the future?
Yeah, all our episodes are on Facebook Live. We do it we use StreamYard just like you guys. We record it live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself, a gentleman named Bobby Dreyer. He's out of Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Then we have Angel Alamo. He's out of New Brunswick, New Jersey. And then Jay Oakley. He's out of Baltimore, Maryland. We all met about almost 2 years ago through Max Ash from a podcast called Max 101. And he wanted to put something together because he does a webcast like this. And he goes, let's do something together. And we started doing it with him and Mitch LaFon. And it was going well. And we called it the M3 Summit. And I said, I don't want to just call it the M3 Summit because I don't want to pigeonhole us of just having guests that played M3. And they're like, okay. So we came up with the name, The Metal Summit. And we just all hit it off. And then Max left. And then Mitch left. And then we brought another friend of mine on. And then he left. And then it's just been the core 4 of us. And that's what we call ourselves, the core 4, even though the show's called The Metal Summit. And it's going on. It'll be 2 years in March. March 2nd is our 2-year anniversary. And
oh, nice. That's my birthday, by the way.
Awesome. So, yeah. So we've done 103 episodes. Of course, the math is a little off, but we've done with certain guests that we've had on, we're a little bit more flexible with their schedule. Mm-hmm. So we have done, most of the time we do our show on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock, but certain guests, because of their schedule, we've done a couple on Monday night, we've done a Thursday night, stuff like that. Like this afternoon, we were very fortunate and blessed. Paramount Pictures gave us the opportunity to interview Penelope this afternoon. So we took the time to do it tonight or today, because how many times are you really going to get a chance to do someone of that caliber?
Absolutely.
And we've had some really, all our guests have been amazing, but there's some that, really stick out in my mind that, people are like, wow, like we were the last people to interview Tawny Katane, the girl from the White Snake video.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately,
she passed away.
Yeah.
We got to do Desmond Child. He's one of the most prolific singer-songwriters of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else? Doug Pinnock of King's X, we've had on quite a few times. Mark Hudson from the Hudson Brothers, his lineage. He wrote "Living on the Edge" for Aerosmith. He wrote "Mbop" for Hanson.
It's iconic songs.
Yeah, exactly. And then then we also had Hal Sparks on, the comic. He's also a musician. Mm-hmm. He's also going to marry me and my fiance, which is pretty cool because he's an ordained minister.
Wait. So, Hal Sparks is going to officiate your wedding?
Yes.
Wow.
He's one of my closest friends. So.
Well, I remember
my fiance calls him my girlfriend because we talk so much on the phone. but he's like one of my dearest and closest friends. And the way I met him is I used to do a podcast called Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. And I emailed him on his website. It says contact here. And I emailed him. Thank you. I just got home, guys, so I'm in the building now.
Yes.
We get it, man. We get it.
So he emailed it, and his publicist filtered through his email and wrote me back and says, no, he's too busy. He was doing like a 3-day stint in Atlantic City at a casino for his comedy. Excuse me. And I was like, really? So I tweeted about it. I was just like, wow. And he saw it because I tagged him in it. And he wrote me back and goes, when did I become a ventriloquist dummy? When did my publicist start speaking for me? She didn't even ask me. Yeah, I'll do it. So.
Yeah, he really hit it big with that show Queer as Folk. Is where he really had, gone nationwide, was on that show.
Yeah. So he came on, everything, and we just hit it off. And we did an hour and a half. And we talked for another 45 minutes. And then his person at the hotel is like, hey, you have to get ready. You're going to be doing stand-up in another hour. He's like, oh, shit, let me go get ready. But we exchanged phone numbers. And then anytime he comes to New Jersey, I go to see him and support him. Mm-hmm. And then we've had him on the Metal Summit a couple times. And he's super smart, super funny. Excuse me. And just the real deal. And then, when I proposed to my fiance, I was like, I think it would be really cool. And I believe he is ordained, but let me ask him. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, I got a question for you. He's like, did she say yeah? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm still in shock. He's like, cool. I'm like, will you marry us? He's like, absolutely. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I also remember he did the round table on a lot of VH1s, like the 70 shows and stuff like that. He was part of the round table.
Yeah, he did pop-up video.
Yeah, pop-up videos and stuff. Yeah. Wow.
I love popped up back in the day, man. That was some fun stuff. Because you're sitting there watching the show, and you see all the stuff coming up and all these, facts and whatnot. You're like, some of them you knew, some of them you didn't. But that's what made it fun about that show. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
like I said, he's the real deal. And I've met so many people through Gene and going on tour with them. It was a lot of fun. And, I would love to do it again. And now my kids are getting older and I'm happily divorced. I have 2 children, like I said, and they live with their mom primarily. So I do have more flexibility to do touring if other bands want me to do tour managing, because I have done other bands, which is pretty cool to put on your resume that, it says, the Kiss Company.
Yeah. Kiss Company.
And then you have, as one of your references, Gene Simmons, and people are like, really? Like, yeah.
That goes a
Like,
long.
I'll have to
way.
call him though, because he won't answer the phone if he doesn't recognize the number.
Oh well, yeah. I don't do that. I'm pretty sure he doesn't either.
And in
Yeah, I'm
all
a
the
nobody.
years
I
I've
don't
been
do
doing
that
radio,
either. I'll be like, yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm not answering this call.
But
Dude.
you'll love this. In all the years I've been doing radio and podcasting, broadcasting, I've never interviewed him.
Really?
That's kind of
Wow.
that's kind of crazy, isn't it? That's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
You should get on the
I've only
phone right
interviewed
now
one-
and be like, hey man, just give me one. Come on, just give me one. You name me. Give me
So,
one.
No, he'll be like, Steven, when you hear the tone, you'll be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, so have you ever asked him?
No. Honestly,
Okay.
I have not. I want to now, because now that I'm where I'm at,
Right.
I think he will do it. It's just, we'll see. The only person I've interviewed that's been in KISS was Bruce Kulick. When I had my podcast, my solo podcast, I had Bruce on for my 1-year anniversary,
Okay.
everything like that. But I would like to get other people. I'm actually going to be meeting with Ace soon because he lives in Jersey as well.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be talking to him about that. And then also Peter lives in Jersey. So I'm going to be talking to him about that as well. Because I am proud to say I am a trustee member of an organization called Rock and Recovery. Carl Cochran, former bass player to Ace Frehley.
Mhm.
He also played
Okay,
guitar
yeah.
for like Flavor Flav. I'm sure you guys heard of Carl. He
Yeah.
wrote Into the Void.
Yeah.
They started this awesome organization, him and his fiancee Jerry, to help people in need that are in the music industry that have fallen on some financial hardship or whatever. And with all the music contacts I have, the music contacts they have, we get like autographed guitars and stuff like that. And then we have people bid on them. And if you win the bid, of course, you get the cash, you get the product, and then we
Right.
take that money and help people in need.
Wow.
We helped out Gary Corbett, the former keyboardist to KISS, Cinderella,
Yeah,
family.
Yeah, that was terrible. Him and
Yeah.
God, I can't remember his name on the top of my head, and it's pissing me off. That was also
Jeff
in the
LeBar?
same band as him. Huh?
Jeff LeBar.
Yeah, Jeff LeBar.
Yeah.
Died on the
So we
same
helped
day.
Gary.
God.
So yeah, it was crazy. So I'm in an elevator, so if I lose you, I'll come right back on.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So
That's fine, Ben.
so
So
but
what
yeah,
do you think so far
I-
here, Andy? You liking the interview?
I am just digging this interview. I had no idea which way that it was going to go.
I told you it was going to be special. I told you, and earlier, I'm kind of feeling tired because I had my own personal issues going on, and there he goes. I had my own personal issues going on, but I told you were going to love this guy.
Yeah, I'm just amazed by this story. Did you know about his KISS connections?
Somewhat. I'm going to lie.
Okay.
I'm going to somewhat lie. And
Okay.
that's why, sad not to get Al on, because I did, want to reschedule because of everything that went on.
Yeah.
But I can't blame somebody for wanting to go do something. And Al was like, I'm going to go do something.
Okay.
But Al was very, very, very adamant that he felt bad for what was going on in my life. And I totally appreciate that, Al. But yeah, that's why I was saying this is going to be a very special interview.
Yeah, because this was, with our going back and forth, and I was hoping we'd get him back, but things, didn't work out that way.
Things happen. Things happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
I
this
can't
is
expect him
amazing.
to stop everything,
Right.
if he thinks
tell-
the show's over.
To tell his family, no, I'm going to go back to do this after they say
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, exactly.
My family wouldn't like that either. They'd be like, "Hey, But we'll get Psycho Steve back on with Al and talk some like serious KISS stuff in the future.
Yeah,
for sure.
But this is an amazing interview.
You're definitely enjoying, right?
Oh yeah, I really am. This is something amazing to talk to him, and he's so easy to talk to, and these stories he has told us so far have been top notch, and I'm loving it. You know, I kept on wondering, well, what am I going to talk about? I'll just let him talk. It sounds great. You know?
That's what I was saying. It makes it easy for me.
Yeah. And especially now that in a few minutes here, we're going to be talking about Use Your Illusions 1 and 2. And I want to see where he was in his life and what he was up to at the time when these albums were dropped. And, you know, he said he saw them in Giant Stadium during that historic tour with Faith No More and Metallica, you know. And of course,
you know, this is where I'm trying to get the show going. Instead of just doing rankings all the time and everything like that. You know, rankings and everything are fun, but I want to get people on the show that were there or near there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, get our own personal stories as well of what was going on in our lives. But, you know, that's what I would love the show to start doing.
Okay.
You know, I still will do rankings and whatnot, but I want to get people on the show that can tell us like what he's doing right now. Oh yeah, by the way, when in 1980, you know, the Kiss, you know, it's like it's an amazing story. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's stuff that you've never heard before ever from. You know,
hanging out with Mariah Carey, and you know, I don't care if people like her music or not. She's still a person. She can still be an excellent person. So you can't. Oh, I don't like their music. You remember growing up in the 80s? Oh, if you don't like this, if you like Slaughter, you're this. If you like this, you like that. Have you ever met the people in the band? You don't have to like their music, but you can't say they're a certain kind of person. I always hated that.
Well, I'm a Mariah Carey fan, so it don't bother me.
Yeah, but my point is, you ever heard that? You ever heard that? And you're like, how do you really know? How do you really know that they're a good person?
Yep, that's why I just kept my opinions to myself.
Well, I try to as well, but when people talk smack, I was like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Always agitated me. So you got your Guns N' Roses ready?
I do. In fact, I was just going down through the tracking list here. You know, I've always preferred one over the other for the longest time. Then recently, one went over the other one, and now I'm back to liking the original one more from when I liked the first one, but when I liked the I guess I'll explain it later because I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, I got a few that, man, I love to death. And we'll see if you agree with me. Do you agree that GNR is a lot of a punk band?
No, I disagree right there.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think they're punk at all.
You don't hear those riffs at all?
No, I don't.
Oh man, we'll get into that, but
okay, all right, that's fine. But I think it's a straight up rock and roll band.
Really? Okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. That's cool. But I hear a lot of punk in it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we'll get to those songs. And, you know, I might throw a couple old songs in there just because maybe if you go back, you know what I mean? Like we all do. Because I've had to as well. Like I don't hear that. And then I hear it again. I'm like, okay, now I hear it.
Yeah. Well, I've heard Guns N' Roses almost my whole life, and I will definitely try to see your point of view.
Yeah, I'm not saying they are a punk band. I'm just saying they have elements of punk
influences. I know exactly what you're trying to get at. But I'm definitely want to talk about the going into the Use Your Illusion.
Okay, go ahead.
Album. What were we going to wait for Psycho Steve?
Well, we can
start?
talk about an elevation, or you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. Well,
we can talk about that until he gets back on, because he's probably trying to get connected and everything like that.
Okay. Well,
we don't have to talk about the albums, but just talk about maybe some history.
Yeah, of course. Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 were the double albums. It was a major release when it came out. And, Appetite for Destruction, of course, is one of the top hard rock or top rock and roll albums of all time, especially from the 80s. But, when GNR Lives came out, which was the second one, even as a teenager or preteen, whenever it came out, I was kind of disappointed in it at a very young age, and I still am very disappointed in it. It was a very lazy release in my
well, they were really getting into the drugs and alcohol at the time, big time.
Yeah.
So I think they just just took the lazy way out.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Because side one are covers of played in live shows, and then side two is all acoustic. And Patience was the big hit off of it. And I kind of don't like that song at all. It goes too long. It's kind of boring. And then they rehash You're Crazy just in an acoustic setting. And then I Used to Love Her, which is an all right song. And then even when I was a teenager, listening to One in a Million made me cringe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just the lyrics were, even me being a kid, I was going, wow, it's not something I'm going to listen to. It's not fun. And then, that was the album that you had, or the new Guns N' Roses, for the next, I think, 3 years before Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 came out. Now, I understand that a couple of these tracks were previously done for Appetite for Destruction or pre-Appetite for Destruction, when they came out with that deluxe Appetite for Destruction set. But, a lot of these songs weren't finished. And again, I think it was another cash cow trying to take when they came out with that Guns N' Roses Deluxe Edition. All that stuff on there was just undone songs or horrible demos that weren't even close to being done. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. I mean, a lot of these bands do the cash cow, let's bring out a record, do what, throw out what we want. And not too long ago, Slash is like, oh, we have enough material for another album.
Mm-hmm.
Because the new one that's supposed to come out, when is that supposed to come out, or did it already come out?
No, it has not come out. They have released a couple of singles where just, okay, kind of sound dated.
It's terrible to me. But I remember seeing something where he was like saying they were supposed to come out with another, tracks of songs.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, bring out the thunder. Don't give us bullshit.
Yeah.
Because when they were doing, with Scott Weiland, Velvet Revolver, God, those were good songs.
Yeah, man,
they weren't great. Yeah, they weren't great, but they were really good.
Yeah, they were.
And I really enjoyed them. And I'm like, why can't these guys get into a room and figure out, let's whip out some really good material.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then when you hear that crap that we heard, a month or two ago, I was like, oh God, I was like, nope, vomit in my mouth. Don't like it.
And now Slash is coming out with a solo album in the next couple of months.
Yeah, and I bet you that's going to bury its ass. I guarantee you. He always writes really good material.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's the Axel syndrome that he's got to, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. And that whole electronic thing, it doesn't work for me. Not in Guns N' Roses.
What
It
electronic,
doesn't,
like whatever they did on that Spanish, whatever they did on that Chinese democracy. That was
yeah, that, and even at the end of a song or an album we're going to talk about, it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are a rock band. You want to do something cool on your own, Axel, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
But don't take the
You know,
spotlight
I
away from Duff and
listen
stuff.
to enough Mike Patton records to where it's all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where I can appreciate it,
Mhm.
but it's not incorporated into a certain band.
Right.
That it wouldn't make sense.
But
Does
the
that
thing
make
is
sense?
that-
I mean,
Oh, yeah. But what I wanted to get at was that, you know, it just seems that when they're doing Guns N' Roses, and again, we're gonna see, I think on this new album, whatever comes out again, like they bullshitted us for over a decade about Chinese democracy, or Axel did. Now,
yeah.
you know, it could be him wanting to take all the power away, just like one of the reasons why they broke up was because he wanted to be to win the power struggle between everybody else. And you know, like we were talking last night on Black Spinner, when it came to Led Zeppelin, they were all an equal part, you know. And here we love the Guns N' Roses because we had our favorites. Some favorite Slash or Duff or Axl, but Axl wants everything. And now that Slash and Duff are not equal partners anymore because of the contracts that were signed or not signed or whatever was going on during these tours back in the early '90s. Now that Axl now owns the name or whatever, you know, who knows what this is going to sound like, and who knows how it's going out there on the road. They seem to be happy, but then you know, if you're bringing in money, you're always happy about that, you know.
Well, yeah, when you're ringing in $4 fucking million a year, who's going to complain?
Yeah, right. Who's going to go? Hey, I don't like this. What's going on with all this money? Axl has an ego problem. Too bad they had great music back in the day. You're so right about that, Kelly. You're right. It's true.
Good job, Kelly. Good job.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about, Kelly. Once a band is broken up like that, it's hard to get back. You know, there's always going to be hurt feelings out there, you know, because once you join a band, you think it's going to be 25%, and everybody's equal. And it just doesn't turn out that way. You know, the way that we see
sometimes at first it is.
Yeah.
But then once you boot everybody out, kind of like, you know, I'm not going to say Kiss booted people out, but once you had a band for longer than you've been a part of, you know what I mean? And then you come back in the band, should you lose that percentage? Yeah. You kind of should.
But then, you know, it all goes back to greed. You know, if, you know, look at U2, they're still with the original members ever since '79 because they're all equal partners.
I hate U2.
I love U2.
I hate them.
I love
them.
I think they're fantastic. I was able to see them once and live. I was able to watch them live once, and I sure wish I could watch them more. I've been digging them ever since I was in elementary. Yeah, I love U2. A lot of good
Nothing
albums.
wrong with it. I'm not going to tell you're wrong. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, that's fine. I've been told wrong before.
I'm trying to see if he's going to be able to. I'm trying to see if he's going to be able to come back on, but I don't know what's going on. Anyways, you tell us. Oh, here we go. Yeah, you knew that. But anyways, why don't you discuss what you're doing next Wednesday, because I am not going to be able to join.
Right. Yeah. Next Wednesday, what we are going to be doing, me and William Toth from Will's Rush page, we are going to be ranking the Neil Young albums, specifically his 70s output from his debut album all the way to Rust Never Sleeps. And I've been feeling out for some other panelists, and we'll see how that's going to be going. So that's what I got going on next Wednesday, and the Wednesday after that, I am going. Hopefully, you'll be able to join me, Rob, for the rock ballads. It's going to be like the week before Valentine's Day, so I thought doing some rock ballads would be pretty cool. And then the week after that, I'm not going to have a show at all. I'll be in Miami for that next week, and then I end it with the best of 1980. I think the best of 1969 went pretty well last night, so hopefully
that was a really good show.
Yeah, it was.
That was kind of like a really weird show, if you would say that, because of all the different the choices, and people are like, gotta check that one out, gotta check that one out, gotta check that one out. That was a lot of fun because we're not doing your usual rock fans. Yeah. We have like really out there kind of things at times.
Yeah, a lot of this. Because rock is such a big genre, you're going to have different likes and, of course, different subgenres that people are going to like. So we're going to see what 1980 is going to bring. I don't know if you noticed, but I made myself a playlist from all the albums that were mentioned yesterday. And when I was at work, I noticed there was a lot of the what's the name of the one you had mentioned? Oh, yeah, there was a lot of Captain Beefcake that I heard. And I loved it.
I kind of wondered if that was going to be it, because that was one that I knew would throw everybody off.
Yeah, and the thing is that I'm such a big Frank Zappa fan, and I've known who Captain Beefheart is ever since I was in high school, but I never really gave him a chance. And boy, was I wrong. That and a lot of the Stooges debut album that you had mentioned was fantastic. So, man, that the Stooges debut album, of course, from 1969, it still sounds so fresh today. It sounds so fresh. Yeah.
Doesn't it? Really does. I mean, that was one of my picks just because, I felt like that could work today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If it was released today, it would still be a hit. It would be. And,
Steve's not going to be able to finish the show.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet him. He was a very nice guy.
Absolutely. But he said, any other show, please, let him know.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to talk to him again, because that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. I just want to talk about a few other things real quick.
Yeah, sure, of course. Go ahead.
What are you looking forward to in the next year, of music coming out, of anything that that's coming out?
Well, I know, there's we had talked about this before, that there's going to be a lot of interesting music coming out in 2022 with these bands not being able to tour. And so they've been staying in the studio, hopefully working. And hopefully we're going to get another Ozzy Osbourne soon, another album that's going to come off of what I think was a fantastic album of Ordinary Man. I wasn't too keen on the title, but what was inside the album was fantastic. And they're bringing back Chad Smith on drums from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they're bringing back Duff McKagan, of course, from Guns N' Roses, and Andrew Watt again is the ringleader of it all. The producer, co-writer, and guitar. So I'm looking forward to that. And like we were just talking, I've really been enjoying the Slash albums that have been coming out. kind of drives me up the wall a little bit, but Slash's guitar playing always reigns over that. So I'm pretty excited about that. And some other stuff that's going to be coming out. And in fact, there's this other podcaster. His name is Brendan Snyder, and he does a lot of CDs talk. And every Friday, he talks about what's coming out for the next month. And he's very insightful, and he's great. And I like to watch. I like watching his shows. And he's reached out to me a couple of times to thank me, and I've asked him to be on a couple of shows, but I just haven't heard anything back. But I'm going to keep trying because he's a really cool guy, and it's pretty cool because he takes you a couple of times. He's gone to the record store, and he'll take you with him and just go through stuff and talk about stuff, which is really neat. And I've thought about doing that myself. I just haven't done it yet. I guess because I don't have a pro or whatever. So, but yeah, there's some albums coming out that I'm pretty excited about. Yeah. So those are the ones that I'm thinking that I'm most excited about. But there's some shows that I'm excited about. I might finally be able to go see Billy Joel in September.
Right.
I've always wanted to see him. He's always been one guy that I've never seen before. I've gone to over 100 shows easily.
Are you going in New York for that, or is he in town?
No, he is coming to Houston, and he's doing and he's doing a summer tour of baseball parks. So he's going to be playing Minute Maid in September.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And
because usually he stays in
at Madison Square Garden. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He stays there, but since COVID is hopefully getting better, I mean, who knows with what's going on in September, and I would like to go see him. I really dig his channel on Facebook, which is pretty cool. No, on Facebook, I'm sorry. On SiriusXM, he's got his own channel, and he's his own DJ sometimes, and it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that, seeing that show. And of course, I've talked about Rockville, I don't know how many times, but our first time to see Kiss and Guns N' Roses is going to be there, and Foo Fighters. This will be the first time I see Foo Fighters as a headliner. I've always seen them being openers. I saw them open for the Chili Peppers and saw them open for Weezer. So I get to see them play a longer set. So that's going to be pretty cool. So
okay, a question I have to ask you since you brought them up.
Yeah,
I love Weezer, and I don't care what anybody else says in
I love Weezer.
Chat,
I've seen that list 12 times,
or the comments or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah,
I am not a one-dimensional musician or a music lover. So, are they amazing live?
Yes, they are. I've seen them 5 times. And the first time I saw them was in a little club here in Houston called Numbers. Small club. And it was between the Blue album and Pinkerton. If you can imagine what kind of show that was.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
You saw them that early?
Oh, yeah. I saw them that early. I've been a fan since the Blue album came out. Ever since they did the Buddy Holly video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
the funny thing is, Buddy Holly in the Sweater Song, I hate.
Yeah.
I still do to this day. But everything else I love. Say It Ain't So is one of the most amazing songs.
And the way that they closed the Blue album with Only in Dreams. Isn't that just a fantastic song? It's
Only in Dreams. Yes.
It's mind-numbing. And then I remember when Pinkerton came out in 96, I think, the internet was just coming around. It was still, it was like in corporations or like in colleges. And when I was going to college, a good friend of mine named Abel, he turned into a newspaper man up in Austin. Anyway, he had printed out the lyrics to Pinkerton. because when Pinkerton came out, it had no lyrics, and I don't know why or how, but he printed out all the lyrics. He passed them out to us, and we were in his house. There was like 6 of us. We were just going through the lyrics because we thought Pinkerton was the greatest thing we'd ever heard at that time. Rolling Stone said it was the worst album of the year, worst album of the 90s. And 10 years ago, they called it the best album of the 90s. So who knows? But I was a fan of that. I bought the CD when it came out. I got on vinyl. I bought the another version of it, the deluxe version. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Weezer. Pinkerton is my favorite album, but lately, I haven't been that keen on them. I didn't like the Black Album, and I didn't like the White Album.
Well, they've been doing nothing but covers albums too.
Oh, well, they did that one Aqua album. It's the Aqua one, and it's all covers. That whole album is covers. But that is a pretty
Didn't
good
they do
album.
2? I thought they did 2 covers.
No, they did just one. They did just
one?
Yeah.
God, I swear they did 2.
And it's got great tracks on there. Like they did "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" by
Tears for Fears.
Yeah, and I saw them a couple of years ago, which was fantastic. And it's so funny because they came. It was a festival, and they opened up with "Everybody Wants to Rule the World," right? So they end with "Head Over Heels," which is a great ballad, and then Dropkick Murphys comes on stage afterwards. And it was just a whole different feel to it,
Yeah, that would be a different feel to it.
And then Dropkick Murphys, and then I don't know who, I forgot who was after Dropkick Murphys, and then Mastodon ended the show.
Mastodon.
Yeah. And Weezer played that day too. And then like R. Kelly was on another stage. It was just a crazy day, which I'm not an R. Kelly fan at all, but I had to walk past that stage to get to Weezer and to get to the Mastodon stages. So yeah, you want to get to these albums here for the Guns N' Roses, the Weezer Illusion 1 and 2?
Well, I didn't want to hold you on for too long, dude. I know he had a problem with his kids. They're on everything, and
right.
We're already $1.03 in. I didn't want to hold you for too long. If you want to talk about something else, we can do that and save the GNR for another time.
Okay, well, we can save the GNR.
I'll just have to change the the bullshit on the
titles. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I can. I'll just throw my notes away. Okay.
Sorry. I try my best.
I'm just messing. I'm fine. All right. Well, then I'm ready to conclude if that's what we're going to do.
Probably a good idea. I mean, right. And also I'm getting all these people from Russia.
I see that.
I can't, I don't know how to read it. I don't know if it's spam. But one quick question before we go.
Yeah, of course, please do.
What's the one album that you're looking forward to? The one album.
Oh well, like I said, it's going to be the new Ozzy because I was so excited about the last one. So, and that's the one I'm looking forward to because that's the one that I really know that's going to be coming out soon. What about you? What do you think? What are you looking forward to? I'm pretty sure it'll change for me.
I'm hearing System of a Down is coming out with a new album.
Oh, really?
And I love that band.
See,
and they never disappoint me. everybody's like, oh yeah, it's just, kind of like, like thrash and whatever,
Yeah.
just all over the place. And then they do all these stops and starts and funk. And sorry, I love that shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love things that turn different compared to what they were.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It makes perfect sense. And I love that stuff too. I don't know. I didn't know that they had gone. Well, I guess I did remember them getting back together. And didn't they release a track towards the end of last year?
2 on the same day. Yeah, they released them, and then they exploded. People were like, "What the hell is this?" It was still System of a Down, but you haven't heard it in a while, so people were really excited. It's like finally they're back.
Yeah. So I forgot that. You see, I had forgotten that was coming down. Without me doing my research, I didn't know that was coming out. But I remember the 2 tracks, and the 2 tracks did sound like classic System of a Down.
Well, always remember this, Andy.
Yeah.
Always remember this.
Okay.
I was a musician for many years. I'm not saying anything that I'm better than anybody. But these people are full of shit.
Who?
They will disappear for a certain amount of time and make it seem like this whole fiasco. Might get myself in trouble. I don't care. But it's like any other band. They eventually want to come back and, get your interest back up. I'm not saying it's a money grab. I'm saying it's an interest grab. They want you to be like, finally, you're back. How many times have you felt that way about a band that you love?
Well, yeah, but you
might not have heard about them for a while, and you're like, hell yeah, they're back.
Yeah. And they disappoint.
Not my bands.
Right.
Andy, I love you to death, man. You are such a great host, co-host, hosty, coasty co-host. But yeah, I will not be able to partake in a new young one. I got too much going on.
Right.
So you guys have a badass time. I'll help promote it, but I can't be a part of it. But next Thursday we'll talk about what we're gonna do.
Okay.
And
isn't next Thursday? Aren't we gonna have Dawn of the Rising? And aren't we doing Judas Priest that Thursday?
You weren't supposed to talk about that yet. Damn it! I wanted another couple days. I was really gonna promote this.
Well, I promoted it a little bit early. Well, promotion's a promotion.
Yeah, you gave it a real good promotion.
Oh, well, the thing is that I need to know that's what we're going to do or not so I can get ready.
Well, that's why we talk separately, man. No, yeah, that's what we're going to do since it's out of the bag. We got, Ray and Iggy from Dawn of the Rising. And we'll do that next Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time on the Rock and Roll Podcast.
And I think we have other guests too.
And then what you got going on there, Andy? You got something going on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, I went over that already. My young ranking of the 70s albums with Will Toth from Will's Rush page. So that's going to be exciting. And in fact, he and I, a few months ago, we literally went by each album from debut to his last album. That's from 1969 all the way to 2021. And we went track by track already.
What?
Yeah.
How long did that take you?
That took us about a week. And And how we did it, Will is up in Canada, and what we did is we made like our own decades playlist from each 70s, 80s, 90s, 20, and 2010s. And we just went through track by track and omitted some songs and put in some songs and put in some different stuff and just made these great playlists that are a couple of hours long for each decade. And I was supposed to put them on cassette and send it to them, but I can't figure out how to record them. After all that, I mean, we would write notes. We would take pictures of notes, and we would message each other all these notes of different songs and reasons why. So yeah, I'm very excited to talk to him about the ranking of these albums. It's, he's just into Neil Young just as much as I am. So this is, I mean, we're really going to break things down quite a bit. So yeah.
Okay, real quick before we shut down, what do you think about this whole? It's kind of funny every time we mention somebody.
There's some controversy going on.
Yeah, and so what do you think about this with the whole Joe Rogan thing?
Yeah,
just curious.
This is the third time I've answered this because I've had extensive discussions with David Martinez today, and again with Jeremy Markentel. They've both been on our shows, and you know them both. And
right.
It's his music, and if he wants to take it off Spotify because he doesn't agree with how things are going or what he believes is misinformation about COVID, well, he can do what he wants. That's his music. So everybody has the freedom of choice in this country. And if Spotify chooses to keep Joe Rogan, and if Joe Rogan has listeners that chooses to listen to him, and Neil Young has the choice to pull his music off of there, and besides, there's more streaming besides just Spotify. In fact, Neil Young has his own streaming called Neil Young Archives, and it's a fantastic archive.
Then why doesn't stick to it?
Stick to what?
His own site.
Oh well, he's had that for a while, and now XM has the Neil Young channel. And it's $30 for
my whole thing. Well, my whole thing is, he was gonna throw a big hissy fit about it, and I'm sorry, he did. He didn't have to. He didn't have to.
Right.
He just could have said, if you don't agree with his politics, come to my, my, not email, but my spot in what.
Right. Right. Well,
Spotify is not going to pay him anyway, so what does it matter?
Right. Well, also maybe making it aware that what he believes is misinformation. But when it comes to COVID out there right now, what is correct information? What's incorrect information? We got so much people.
We don't know. We don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know what the next person's going to get, or I'm not trying to be this political person or nothing like that. Trust me, I'm not.
I'm not
we
either.
don't know what's going on with anything. We don't. I'm not going to be that person going, oh, if you did this, you did that, you did this. No, I just don't know what's going to happen.
All that I know is that I am immunized because I chose to be immunized because that's what I wanted to do. Now, if I had someone next to me,
and that's fine.
If I had, and if I had another person next to me that's not immunized, well, that's their choice.
Yes. Yes. Here in, sometimes I wonder if, just because of the world we're living in. Everything has to be exploited. Which I mean, if you want to make more money doing what you do, sometimes you have to be controversial. Sometimes it might go against you. Sometimes it don't. Because
Neil Young
you
doesn't
remember
need
when
Spotify
Ozzy
money.
Osbourne bit off the head of a damn
Yeah.
dove? Everybody was like, "Oh, I gotta buy this album. This is gonna be the badass album of the world."
Well, the thing is that with Neil Young, this is nothing new to him. Back in the 20, I forgot what year, but he released Living with War, which was railed against George Bush. And then, it didn't get very good reviews. So what did he do next? He toured the whole album. And people booed or people walked out because they wanted to hear the hits. And he would play the whole album from beginning to end. And so this controversial or whatever means nothing to him.
But what is he doing?
He stuck by what he stuck by what he believed in. Believe me, he ain't gonna go broke because of freaking Spotify.
Oh, come on.
Right.
He did, screw himself by saying that, okay, maybe we should get off this topic.
No, by saying what? I mean, I want to know.
I mean, he always said, free speech is free speech. And
Right.
then he's bitching about somebody saying free speech. And I don't like Joe Rogan. I'm going to tell you that right now. I do not.
Mm-hmm.
But he had the right to say what he wanted to say.
Right, exactly.
And
I agree.
And for Neil Young to, go off, like, oh, you gotta, pick me or him. That's it's childish. In my opinion, it's childish.
Oh yeah. I agree. But
It's like me and you, Andy. No, you cannot pick Slaughter on this show, but we can have Megadeth. To me, it feels that way, to where you can't have one thing to another. Why can't you have them both? Why can't you, just disagree to agree and say, well, I don't believe in this.
Right. But the thing is that it's very simple. It's just that the way that I understood was that Neil did not want to be associated with a company that was going to be supporting what he believes was misinformation about COVID. And that's why he said, so now he's out and he stuck to his guns and he pulled his music out. It wasn't simply.
He got his music pulled out. Spotify said, you're done.
And that's fine. And I thought that it was something commendable, really, to say something like that, to say, hey, I believe, this is Neil Young saying that I believe that this is misinformation. And, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but that's what he believed. And that's what he believes.
And I'm not a Joe Rogan fan. I'm not.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's just silly that our world is getting to this point. You know what I mean? You remember when we were growing up, what was the worst things you thought about?
AIDS. I was afraid.
Well,
drug use.
Let's think beyond that. You didn't think about your, friends killing you. You didn't. You
Oh,
know,
no, I never thought of that.
things were way different back then than they are now. Am I correct?
Oh well, yes, things are a lot worse today. That's why when I retire from work, I'm gonna lock myself up at home.
Just do a podcast and screw you all. I'm
About my
home.
daily life, right?
So
Yeah,
what do
but
you got going on coming up, buddy?
oh well, I've already talked about it. So
Talk
then-
about it again. We've been talking too long.
I got the Neil Young podcast. I'll be ranking his albums of the 70s next Wednesday at 7 o'clock on the Black Spinner Circle. And then the week after that, I believe it's going to be on the 9th. Is it the 9th? 7 2 plus 7? Yes, on the 9th, it's going to be Rock Ballads, which is going to be homage to Valentine's Day. And then I'll take the week off of the third week of February. And then after that, we'll be doing the best of 1980. So that's what I got going on for the month of February. And I'm looking forward to all that happening. So I'm going to wrap things up. You got anything going on this month, Rob?
Nah.
No? All right. All right. Well,
it will be coming up soon because I had to make a couple of changes.
All right.
So I really can't say.
Okay. Well, I'll be saying good night at this point then. Good night, everybody watching out there, and rock on. All right.